interesting is that many times it's men that tell you that because they know women. So they will tell you, they will be kind enough to share with you the truth that they know that I will regret it. So a man told me that. And first of all, I'm conditioned as a woman to be uncertain of myself. When, if a man tell me something, so automatically, wow, maybe he's right. It's much harder with men than with women. This is still the truth. It's very embarrassing to me to acknowledge it, but I have to. When a man tells me something, especially if it's somebody that I respect, maybe he's older than me, whatever, I immediately think, oh, probably I'm wrong and I'm going to regret it.
Welcome. My name is Andrea Thiele and I'm your host, and I'm delighted to speak today with Tami Zori. Hello, Tami.
Hello.
Tami is the founder of Childfree and Living Knowledge Center for Deep Ecology in Tel Aviv. And she's right now transitioning from Tel Aviv to a new place, and we're going to talk about what that will be. And so welcome, Tami.
Thank you, Andrea, for inviting me to this. It's such an important subject. Thank you very much for organizing this whole thing.
Thank you, Tami. Thank you for coming. Thank you for participating. And so, first question, of course. So, what is Childfree and what is deep ecology?
Oh, so it's easier, I guess, to tell everybody what Childfree is than to say what deep ecology is, but I'll try to answer both questions shortly. So I started Childfree in 2006 as because I felt there was a very much missing the information about urban ecology was very much missing in Israel. There wasn't any talk about it, and I wanted to bring a lot of the stuff that I learned from permaculture and other things that I was learning at the time to speak it in Hebrew to Hebrew-speaking audience in Israel. So I started it as a website, but very, very fast it turned into a community. People wanted to work with me on the website, and eventually I found myself living with other people in the same space, and the space became a space that is demonstrating what it means to live urban ecology. And with the years we understood it's deep ecology, and we connected very much to the roots of deep ecology, to the authors and philosophers and the idea and the movement of deep ecology, which is also very missing in Israel. Even in the environmental circles, Childfree is very much part of the environmental circle in Israel. And we've been showing that it's all very possible in the city, in the heart of the city. Lately, we discovered that the city of Tel Aviv is not hospitable anymore for us in terms of what's going on with all the building and the noise and many other issues that we had. And we decided to live to a much, much smaller town. And now we are, as you said, we are in transitioning. So just one more sentence. When we talk about deep ecology, we mean that every decision that we make, we think about many things, or we learn about life as we know it, which is very shallow in so many different regards. And we are deepening our thoughts about our consequences, the consequences of the normal. We all came, as I'm 55 years old, and I came to Childfree from a very normal set of conditions and conditioning. And I've been dismantling it piece by piece over the past, 15 years? Started before, but we really with Childfree, it's like dismantling. And finding where this piece came from and why am I not believing anymore the voice that brought this piece into my puzzle, and then I'm building a new puzzle. So the new puzzle is deep ecology, and it's a different kind of living and a different kind of thinking about everything we do in day-to-day life.
Wow, yes, and I visited you during my research, and it was like very, very interesting to just have like a glimpse of your life. And it's like, and at the end, you can probably also share how people can find out more about it. But now I would love to know, does like your choice of not having kids have anything to do with deep ecology, or is it like an environmental act for you or a political act? Why did you choose not to have it?
Like many things many choices of mine, I made it intuitively. And the intuition told me, everybody told me something, many things about something. And my intuition said, no, that's not my way. And I'm very lucky in the sense that I have the ability. It is probably connected to how I'm built. I'm an artist. So from very early childhood, I remember myself as being different. And yes, it's not so easy sometimes. It's not so comfortable, but this is where I feel most comfortable at the end of the day. So I always find myself taking the freedom to do what my intuition tell me, even if it's against what's normal. So that's my advantage, and in this sense. And so I didn't have kids because I didn't want to have kids. It's so simple. But during the time in City Tree, as I said, we've been thinking about things. So of course this issue comes up a lot, because as I learn about the environment, as I learn about the climate, as I learn about the disintegration of community, of the natural system around us, I understand how it used to be for women and for people, how the family structure was, how it was changed very dramatically and very violently by the patriarchal system. And I understand that my choice is not personal like everything else. It's not, oh, that's what I wanted, which is what I thought. It's part of a story that I'm connected to. Yeah, it's a story of change, or the story of how patriarchy changed everything, and how we are going to, if we are to survive here, if we are to flourish, if we are to, it's more than survive, because we might survive just in the direction that we're going right now. Survival is not the issue for humans. For humanity, I would say. Many humans do not survive it. The question is, how are we going to really create a really good system that is going back to the old story and connecting it to the knowledge that we have now after we've been through very hard times, and what is going to be. So I'm part of that tension between what is and what would like to be.
Okay. Because in Israel, it's also like a very distinct, I think even a heightened situation for
Absolutely.
women to have the pressure to have kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so how did you deal with that to really go against that? Because then in a way you said, if I understood you correctly, it was somewhat of a conscious choice, but to also of joining a movement to undo what patriarchal conditioning did to our planet or humanity in general, right? So how do you holding up against that? Because Israel is very strong on that, I think, right? Would you say that?
Yes, it is very strong. Going back to my conditioning, it's not, it didn't just happen by chance, and I didn't even have to fight to be who I am, because my parents gave me a lot of freedom that's my you have the freedom to do whatever you want and to be whoever you want to be. My father always laughs and he says, what do you think, that we could have told you anything else? You would just do whatever you always knew what you wanted. But I think it's a little bit of a naivete, because both of them really gave me the space, and that's in this, I'm really, really lucky, and I'm really thankful to them. So the message, I didn't get this pressure to have kids from my parents, which is very rare. It is very rare in Israel. Parents are representatives, very they want to be representatives of society, right? This is what you get at home, the messages of society, and the Jewish society and the Israeli society is very much about, oh, there's a demographic problem here, and we Jewish we need to protect ourselves against the enemy. And one of the best ways to protect ourselves is to have a lot of kids, because then we will win demographically. And even more so as a secular family, we see the religious people are making a lot of kids. And so, oh, there's a problem because one day it will be a religious country. So we have to have also many kids. I mean, it's so ridiculous. And as you know, in these days, we are becoming a religious country. So it didn't really help us how many kids we did or did not have. It even came earlier than everybody expected. Demographically, it should have happened, I don't know, 10 or 20 years ahead. And here it is happening already. So it's, I suppose, not about the number of kids, or maybe it is. I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, Israel, I did meet the pressure in many ways outside of my family circle. And the way I dealt with it.
What is one, sorry to interrupt you, what is one pressure, what was one, can you remember one?
Even in the environmental circle, where a lot of people say, oh, you don't have kids because it's not environmental, right? And I'm like, yeah, you can do the numbers and tell me that it's not environmental, but I saw wonderful parents to wonderful kids that are very much environmental. I mean, having kids is natural. It's okay. It's not natural to expect that every woman will have a kid, or 2 or 3 or 5. That's the unnatural thing. And the reason why it's expected is because of the history and the targets of patriarchy. So this is what I go actually against, and not environmental. So it's very, also the comments that you get are very much from the same mindset. It's like, what kind of a woman are you? Oh, you don't have kids? I mean, it's not even that they say, what kind of a woman are you? But, oh, so how many kids you have? Like, I don't have kids. Oh, really? Why? Something is wrong? Like, are you sick? Do you want to have kids? And they wish to hear, I want to have kids. I'm like, no, I don't want to have kids. Really? It's like, what's wrong with you? This you get outside. And now in the environmental circle, it's much more gentle and open and accepting. And then you get but you're going to regret. I know, because I had a kid and it's so amazing, and you're going to regret. And a very good friend of mine said to me once, after she had a kid, she said, I think you are ready now to have a kid. And I like, well, you are ready now to have a kid. I'm not, but I mean, that's another Israeli thing, very much Israeli thing, is that, and I do it all the time. It's not, I mean, it is judgmental, but it's like, I'm not different. You look at another person and you know what's good for him, and you're going to tell him that also. I mean, you go in the street and people tell you, are you pregnant? Somebody I don't know, and I just got fat a little bit or whatever. Are you pregnant? Like, no, I'm just fat. I'll do a diet, I'll get, what? Why are you asking that?
That is so funny. That is so funny that people ask you that. I can see that. That everybody's in your business a little bit, right?
Oh yeah. We're still a tribe, and yeah, everybody cares. There are some very good things to this, of course, because people care about you. There's something real there. But it got very distorted with the years. It's different now. Yeah.
What would you say is like the biggest mindfuck for you in Israeli society, what you have encountered? Which one was the hardest for you? And maybe you can also tell like an incident, kind of like what you just said, but like just pick one. What is the one that was like where you had to take a moment to see how that impacts you?
I do think that the regret thing was the one that impacted me, because how do you tell? How do you know? I mean, I was at the edge. Oh, and it's also, what's very interesting is that many times it's men that tell you that, because they know women, so they will tell you. They will be kind enough to share with you the truth that they know that I will regret it. So a man told me that. And first of all, I'm conditioned as a woman to be uncertain of myself. When, if a man tell me something, so automatically, wow, maybe he's right. It's much harder with men than with women. This is still the truth. It's very embarrassing to me to acknowledge it, but I have to. When a man tells me something, especially if it's somebody that I respect, maybe he's older than me, whatever, I immediately think, oh, probably I'm wrong and I'm going to regret it. So there was this moment. But as always, with everything, my guts are like, okay, maybe we're going to live and see. It's like, it's not like there's a choice. Oh, we'll make kids fast, find a man and make a kid in the next 2 years, because they say the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. Your biological clock is ticking. And I'm like, really? I'm trying to develop my inner listening, and there's no biological clock. It's not, I don't have it. I'm not saying this. I just said there's no biological clock. Maybe women have it. I don't know. I didn't. My experience is that I don't have any biological clock. Maybe this is why people say, oh, you have energy of a kid, because my biological clock is not ticking, and maybe because I didn't have kids. It's like, I have more energy free to do other things that are really interesting to me. So yeah, maybe having a kid was an interesting project, but I have other things to do always that are more interesting to me at that moment. It's always in the here and now, right? However, what's going to be in the future? Am I going to regret? So the future is now. Glad to announce we are in the future. I cannot have kids no longer. Nobody can tell me I'll regret, but I can tell you I do not regret. And that's the most important message that I have. And I talk now as Tami from Childfree. I have many opportunities to talk to young women who have doubts or thoughts about having kids, about the future. And I cannot tell them what to do, of course, and I try not to do it. But I tell them I do not regret. And I think that it's very important that they will meet a woman that does not regret. So they'll have this image in their mind. It's okay. Not everybody regrets. Some people do. Some people don't. There is a way to go that is open once you see a person that she had done this way and she's okay. So
yeah, I think this is so great because it is so important that we see and hear that there is the possibility of not regretting that, of having a fulfilled life, of being happy, of loving your choice. And that because it's just so scary because you can't prove it, right? There's like nothing like, oh yeah, you will regret it, but you might also regret to have kids. That is also a regret, like some women have, right?
Oh yeah, that's also important. When I heard people tell me that, it took some time to start hearing it. Like, people would not say it. It was taboo. You were not supposed to say you regretted. But some close people, now I know why they regret, because I have so much criticism about how things work in our world. I think those women would not have regretted having kids if they would have raised them in a normal society, in a supportive society, where they're not alone with 3 kids in the house having to take care of everything because dad is at work or abroad in his trip, whatever. And then same thing for a man. When the woman goes, the man is with the kid. It's not, the thing of the couple is such a hallucination, like a few thousand years of hallucinations. I mean, it's great for some, again, it is great for some people. It's an option. It's not the only option. And they just erased the other option, which is a circle raising the kids together. And then maybe some women cannot have kids. They would like, but they cannot. They don't do any treatments. The treatments is another issue. They don't, because they have kids around them, because they are part of the community, and then they can become mothers, even though those kids didn't come from their womb. And in a community like that, I might have a kid because I would know that I can still do my projects, because there's many women, many men and women, and there are not so many kids on the group, right? So there's many adults, many ages that take care of the kids. So there, we just have to remember how to be a human being, and we remember this as part of the picture. And so when I see how people are raised, kids are raised in such a distorted system, it's so hard to disconnect, as I'm disconnected from this system as an individual and a community of adults. If I had a spouse and kids, it would have been a different project to disconnect, especially in Israel. Once you have a kid, the system grabs you and you cannot stay away of it. You cannot. It's not easy as an individual as well. But once you're part of a family, they just grab you. And this is how I'm really happy. Those are the moments that I'm like, so lucky, so lucky. I'm like thankful. I'm like, wow, I'm so happy I didn't do it because I could, and chose not to. And I say thank you to myself.
Great. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. And also I'm hearing, like, just like to put it together, I think you said one thing which was really important also, that that you had these doubts because a man told you, and we're kind of like conditioned to think, when a man tells us something that you respect, then maybe he's right and you're wrong, right? And so what was the thing, again, would you say where you kind of could rule that out, where you like, okay, maybe he says, I'm going to regret that, but you just said, okay, you're going to listen to your own voice. Is that how you kind of like?
It took a few days. I took it to heart. I was like, wow, maybe I'm going to regret. But I felt that it was a rational thing. I was calculating. It came from the head. What if? And after a few days, it went away, because it's not strong enough a reason for me to act. It's like, okay, I have these bothersome thoughts. They run as much as they want to run. I do meditation and I know how to look at my thoughts. It doesn't mean that I know how to control them. Oh, I'm not going to think that. No, it's running, and then it runs out of gas. It's like, I'm just becoming busy with something else that is true and real. And
that's great. So you were like monitoring, so like a system where you kind of like, a thought is just like something that happens in your mind. It's just like, it can be anything and has like there's no truth to it just because you think it.
Yeah.
Right?
And my guts take me back to the work on City Tree. This is what I want to do. It's like people laugh, and I also that I am married. I'm married to City Tree. This is what I do. I also have kids, because, and this is the other thing and connects to the first question about City Tree. It's really hard to do it alone, and this is an answer to so many issues, which like not having a kid, or the decision about not having kids, is one of the issues. There's all the issues of life now, right now, or You can say always. It's not as easy to have a stand when you're standing alone. If you're alone, it's so easy to distract you and to make you feel uncomfortable. And if everybody around you is behaving a certain way, I said I'm very strange or different, that I can. But the truth is, I cannot. I always had a friend, at least one friend, that was with me with the same strange, different thoughts. And we can talk and share and say, isn't it weird how they all behave? Like, I don't want to be an adult. Like, this is a childhood friend. And she also doesn't have kids. And we grew up together, like two adolescent women. And we kept exchanging ideas and thoughts about what society expects from us and about our fears and hesitations. And we kept saying to each other, we're not going to be like that. So it's like a contract that you do not exactly with yourself. You sign a contract. So I know that many people sign this kind of contracts with childhood friends, and then they break the contracts because they become adults and what to do. So I guess some contracts I broke, but not this one. I became adult in some ways, but not in this one.
Okay, that's beautiful. So you were saying that a friend that thinks the same like you do is extremely helpful.
Yeah.
Right?
And this day is a community to develop this one step further. Now I live with other people, even though right now we are in transitioning stage, after living together for different years with different members. It's not a big community. You can say we are 5 people, 5-6 people. And we share the same viewpoint on the world. And even though 2 of us had kids, they have kids, but they very much agree to the mistake aspect of it. They don't think they love their kids, I should say that. But they are aware of the option of not having kids as legitimate. They would not tell me, oh, so sorry for you that you didn't. It's not an option. They see who I am and I see who they are, and we live together. So we hold together a space, a mental space and physical space when we live together, when we share this physical space, where people think in a certain way. And so I'm not alone. And as I said at the beginning, it's about the food we eat, the way we clean, the kind of what we do for fun in life, what do we consider fun, and what we are not considering fun or no. It's like
right. And I think that connects to my next question, like where do you see CityTree developing to? Because I think what you also said is like, you know, even if you live more in a community, you know, that you're in like kind of like a tribal, that maybe you know, a family doesn't have to be a family of 2, can be a family of many members, and then some members have kids, right? And that is like just much more maybe back to the roots way of living. Do you see yourself transitioning like the CityTree to a place like that? And
yes,
when you grow old?
yes, that's my vision. That's my what I imagine, and I'll do anything I can that it will go that way. And that's maybe about your other mind fuck that you said, fear of the future, right? So that's another thing is that I'm compared to other people, I'm fearless. That's one of the things of being different, is like I don't fear as much as other people to be different or to do something that might have consequences on the future. That's one level of it. And the other level of it is we all know that right now the state of the world is really bad on so many levels, and we are in a crisis. We can continue to fight with each other about is there or is there not global warming, And that's just one of the ways that the world is going to a wrong place. And so the answer for everything, including AI, which is another discussion, big discussion right now, is go back to the soil, go back to earth, in metaphorically and physically. And so running out of the city was the breaking point of saying the city is not giving us the opportunity to be connected to the soil and the earth. It's not. It could have been. I think the cities of the future are going to be amazing and connected to the earth, but it's not right now, and it's just becoming more and more difficult there. And I will come back to, I will close the circle in a moment. So we are going out of the city to be in a place where we have more connection to the soil and more space to hold the community. And the idea is that it is a small town. It's not like we're going to build a house in the wilderness, which is much less, maybe for everywhere in the world, it's not easy, but in Israel, it's really hard. And that's another discussion. It's a little bit like in Tel Aviv, but a small town where there are buildings already, and we can go inside what is without building something new and retrofit it, as we live there, fixing our infrastructure in a very small and accessible, whatever that we can do with the money that we don't have, right? It's like, with what we have, we're going to create a system that works ecologically, and the people who are living in the system, what they learn is how to live ecologically. And living ecologically, again, meaning that we're not doing things that are harming the environment or harming other people as much as we can. Of course, we always harm somebody or something, but we're very conscious. We're not doing the things that are very obviously harmful to the environment and to other people. We're choosing not to do them. And in a space like that, where we choose to not be so, it's not so important that everybody will have their own room, for example. Or I have my own room. I have my own house. I have my own huge house. If you have a huge house and 10 people can live there, this is a time to bring in 9 people that share your view about the world, and that you can create together, recreate the way of living together in a building that is already built. You don't have to be, if you want, you build, but you don't have to. So many buildings are empty. Bring in other people if you have the means, if you have a house. So many people own empty houses, and other people are raising kids in very small houses, and the pressure when the environment is wrong, the pressure is unbearable usually on the mother, sometimes on both, but usually the mother takes it all in, and it's really hard. Bring in people, and the people should be many different ages. It's going to be good if it's going to be different ages. So you'll have an adopted grandmother, at least one, adopted grandfather, at least one, a cousin, everything. And one of the members is a young woman, and she is going to have a kid. Amazing. We can hold it.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So one last question, which I ask everybody, is like, who's going to hold your hand when you die? Which you kind of
right. So continuing where I left it, my big idea about the money that I do have in life, it's some I can say if I have the money, but kind of know that at some point I'll have some money that I can invest. And the main idea was, I'll just give it to a community that is building a place, and I will tell them, take the money, build the place. One condition: you're building for me, a small hut, a hut that is quiet and dark, that's like so precious. In Israel, there's no dark places anymore. There's no quiet places anymore. And I'm exaggerating. I'm maybe you noticed I'm a little bit exaggerating. I'm an exaggerated person. But it's really hard. Like, okay, it's another conversation. The whole world is becoming too loud, and too bright. It's all so loud and so bright. So I imagine that they build me I'm already old, I can't build that. I'll just do the decoration, and they'll build a little hut from mud, and it will be quiet and dark. And when I'm going to die, they're going to be with me. And they're going to bring me food and just take care of me. And it's going to be like, that's the sweet dream of how I'm going to die. Awesome. And here it's like now recorded. So it's my, how do you call it?
That's like, made a statement. It's like you put it out there, right?
So everybody knows.
Yeah.
What's the document called? I forget.
The signature.
No,
document?
Not the signature. What people no.
It's
I miss a word in English. The document that people write when they die, before they die.
Oh, it's a eulogy. No, that's afterward. Testament.
No.
So
they write. Anyway,
whatever.
You'll put it in letters on the video after that.
I put it in letters.
There's a tzava'a. It's a document. So here that's my recorded tzava'a. That's how I want to die, not in a hospital, in a mud hut with people around me.
Mud hut.
It could be not a mud hut. Okay, it could be a room in this community place where I'm going to live years before that, and then.
Well, hopefully, CityTree evolves into that you have your.
Oh yeah, that's the idea.
Exactly, and so then it kind of organically kind of grows into that.
That's the idea now. When I had this dream originally, I thought we're staying in Tel Aviv. I didn't realize that we're living. And then I thought, okay, but when I die, I want to be in this quiet place, very dark and quiet place. And then I said, oh, we're living. Now it's going to be in my house, actually, with the people that will live with me until that moment. And we do definitely, we call it, like I call it, the place where I'm going to die. I'm building now the place and the community so that one woman will have a place to have a kid, and in the same place I could die. So it's a whole circle.
Beautiful. Love that, Tami.
Thank you.
Tami, how can somebody reach you? How can somebody get in touch with you?
And so for English speakers, it is just write me an email, or I'm also in Facebook. Everything I write is in Hebrew. Sometimes we translate something and we try to be to have a presence in English online, but it never really. We always work with nothing, so it's like I rather have it all in Hebrew. I love the language, and I want to stay with it. But I'm accessible by email, and for the Hebrew speakers, we have a website, and we have, I do a little bit of social media, although much less these days. I'm kind of sick and tired of the whole bunch of channels. Wouldn't even say their name, but I'm there. I mean, I'm accessible there. In WhatsApp, here, I said the name.
Okay, you said the name. Okay, so because I found you citytree.net. So for everybody watching, citytree.net, that is one where you can Google that, and then you can find Tami, and from there it connects you if you want to know more about her.
And you can Google Translate.
You never know. Maybe somebody wants to move in with you into the mud hut, right? And everybody's like, hey, this is my dream too. This is let's build 5 mud huts, 20 mud huts.
Exactly. I would love to talk with other people that this kind of living is interesting to them, and maybe they feel it's very far from reach. So
I don't think so.
Not necessarily come live with me, but let's talk about why is it far from reach. It might stay far of reach. I know that it's really hard, but let's talk about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Tami, for taking your time today and
Thank you.
join me. And yeah, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Andrea, and thank you everybody that will watch it in the future. Don't be afraid of the future. Thank you. Thank you very much.